All right, doing a quick rundown on the equipment that we got here. We got 2 brand new electric heaters, 2 that we had from last year that we already used. Hopefully they still work. 2 heat lamps, 1 for each half. That's gonna be pointed towards our water source. It's gonna hopefully keep the water source from freezing. Even though it might not snow a lot here in Livingston, Tennessee, it does get below freezing very regularly. I got this additional extension cord. It's an all-weather exterior extension cord, and this is what I'm gonna use to get power from the electrical pole into the chicken coop area. I'm probably just gonna zip tie the whole thing together to make it easy to harness the wires everywhere where I need to go. I might have to drill some holes into the chicken coops to be able to get the electrical cords exactly where I need them. So what we're doing here is we're securing the mesh to the frame. It's been a little bit tricky because the frame's actually buried 18 inches underground, and then the trenches that we dug need to be filled with rock, which you can see my son is doing here. Then it gets filled with dirt. While he's working on that, we fashioned a door of sorts and bought some hinges from Lowe's. And then now we need to secure the mesh so that it keeps the animals we don't want to get in out. I also had to do some digging to level the interior space, and then also preparing a space at the bottom so that the door can swing open. Once we finished securing the mesh, I had to create some sort of way to secure the door. I just used bolted eye hooks. I don't know what they're called. These guys. And then I put a rod all the way through it, and that secures it pretty well. Once I finished the chicken run and interconnected the chicken coops to the chicken run, I got started installing the heating panels. I'm not an engineer, very handy at all, so this took every ounce of energy that I could muster. As you can see here, I'm just placing the heating panels, mocking up where they go, seeing how long the cables are. The heat panels that we're using are PetNF chicken coop heater. I won't read the whole description from Amazon, but you can see here from the screenshot, it's a very long one. They have an average of 4 stars with over 1,500 ratings, which is pretty good in my book. And I would say after owning 4 panels that they're pretty good. One of them got wet in a corner, and when it got wet, it got hotter and hotter and it melted a part of the panel. But what's awesome is that I was able to contact customer support. They asked for some pictures, and then they just sent a replacement panel. The units take 140 watts. This matters because I have 4 panels plus 2 heat lamps that are 500 watts each running through 1 extension cord to a wall on the side of my house. So everything added together were just under 1,500 watts, and a regular wall plug can handle 2,400 watts. You can see here I'm using the Elitech thermostat system. That system was also purchased from Amazon, and I would give it mixed reviews. It works, so that's really good, and I am using it, and it has stood up to the weather really well. The problem is that it's supposed to hook up to Wi-Fi and then through the app hook up to my smart speaker, and I never got that to work. The manual is voluminous, and it's very complicated. I kind of gave up and just started pushing the 3 buttons in different combinations until I think I got it to where I want it to work. So the premise of the system is that you set for the heat side at what temperature it turns on. So for me, it would be like 48 degrees. And then if it reaches 56 degrees, the heating system turns off. And then that little thermostat there, I put in an area not too close to the heat panel, but not too far away either, because I want it to be triggered by the heat panel somewhat, but also by the weather. So that part was just a trial and error just to figure out what's going to be ideal. So I put the digital thermometer about 5 inches away from the heat panel, and that seems to work pretty well. Get the extension cord, plug in the thermostat system into it, and now I need more wall plugs since there's only 1 heating plug. So I bought one of these from Amazon. Yeah, I don't know, it was like 15 bucks or something like that. Here I am plugging in the digital thermostat. So the next step is to get these panels mounted onto the walls. I just eyeballed it. There's probably some technical way to get it perfectly level and mounted properly. I just put 1 screw arbitrarily and then lined up the panel, and then I figured, well, the other screw should go about right here. It didn't work 50% of the time. For 2 of the 4 panels, I had to unscrew the second screw and readjust it. Well, you know, I'm not trying to do this for a living. It's just trying to get it right once, and I got it to work eventually, so it's fine. It's not perfectly straight, and that does drive me crazy, but not crazy enough to unscrew it a 3rd time and readjust the screw. It is what it is. You can see here, these are the heat lamps. Now, I found some heat lamps on Amazon that have some great ratings, but we bought ours from a reptile store many years ago. I just had them laying around, so I repurposed them. The mounting points are a little bit interesting. It's basically a clamp system that usually you clamp to the side of an aquarium, so they're made to be easy to move around like that. In this case, there isn't really a great place to clamp it to, so I use some zip ties to hold it into place firmly. It has a really weird screw system that you unscrew and everything gets loose, and then you point the lamp where you want it and tighten it up and it holds it in place. It works okay. I mean, if someone was going to be bumping into it all the time, or if it was going to be subjected to a lot of wind, I would be concerned, but it shouldn't be disturbed too much. So I think it'll be okay. Next step is getting our extension cord so that we could run it from the electrical panel into the chicken coop. I bought this extension cord. It's a total of 40 feet, sort of. It's 10 feet and then 15 feet in each direction for a total of 40 feet. But it's exactly what I needed. I measured it out and I had plenty extra. Here I am passing the cable through the chicken coop. It barely fits. I stretched the mesh a little bit to get it to go through. Now there's something that happened here. It's in chicken poop. So now my hands are full of chicken poop. I didn't expect that. Go inside the house, get my hands washed, put some rubber gloves on, and let's keep going. Not what I was expecting, but I guess, there's chicken poop in there. Now I run this cable into the electrical panel, plug it into one of the plugs, and I use some J-hooks that I got from Amazon to harness the wires. I'm not trying to do anything aesthetically pleasing or anything like that. Just cram all the wires in there. At this point, I knew that I didn't have any more cables that were going to go run vertically from the wooden post. So I just used some zip ties to hold everything in place and not have it getting snagged on or something like that. Now I had to get the cable secured from the other side. More zip ties. Just grab the cable, zip tie it up all the way up until I was ready to split it left to right. Zip ties are working great. Some of them are brittle and they were snappy. But if that happens, I'll just, grab another zip tie and keep going. It's a tedious process, and that extension cord did get smeared in chicken poop, so I just kept my gloves on. But I was able to eyeball everything. It was not super technical at all. I'm not sure how it's going to hold up as it gets cold, hot through the years, but hopefully it holds up for a year or at least a season. There is extra cable left over, so just bunch it all up, zip tie that up as well, trying to keep everything under the tarp so it's not subjected to the weather too much. Now I got to install 2 heating panels in the smaller chicken coop. Same process, just eyeballing everything, popping in the screws, trial and error. I know that there's some people that are really good at this kind of stuff and they probably would have done a custom job, but I'm happy with my work. J-hooks worked out perfectly here. I did have to use a drill that was smaller than the thread to pre-drill because it's too hard from, awkward angles, just screw them in place. But once the little hole is there, then there's something to stick in and start to rotate. Here I am drilling another 1.5-inch hole. This time I was a little bit more careful to ensure that piece of wood didn't get stuck in the drill bit. Harnessing more wires using the J-hooks. Worked out really well. Really happy with that. And there's the 2 heat panels installed and ready to go. You can see here how the wires are running around the different areas of the coop instead of obstructing the chickens as they try and come and go. Cram all the wires in one more time, close it up because we're going to do some more work later. That's what it's looking like so far. Not great, but it'll do. I found some Velcro strips, so I used that in addition to the zip ties to hold the wires onto the wooden post. Here we are putting some final touches where the whole installation is complete. Heating panels all set to go, wires all harnessed. Now it's time to plug everything into the wall at the house and program the thermostat system. Here's how the wires are harnessed and how the lamp is holding up. That lamp is to provide a little bit of heat for the chickens in the chicken run, but hopefully also keep the water from freezing. And also keep things dry when everything gets really rainy. I'm not sure if it's going to work, but I knew I didn't want the heating lamp inside the chicken coops because that throws off the chickens' day-night cycles. And, we don't want that. Chickens seem happy with the system. You can see the stickers are glowing red. That means it's on. Here's the thermostat system. It's about 5 inches apart from the heating panel. It was triggering beautifully on and off when we hit a cold snap recently. Chickens seem happy. So far, no frozen to death chickens. So that's encouraging. You can see here the chickens choose how close to be to the heating panels. Some of them like it warmer. Some of them don't mind it a little bit cooler. That's been my rundown on how I got this whole system set up and installed. Again, I'm not super techie. I'm not an engineer. I'm not very handy with tools, but I piddled my way through it and so far so good. So we'll see how it lasts over time. Thanks so much for watching along. Really appreciate you guys joining. Please like and subscribe. I found your comments very encouraging. It's what's kept me going this long. I'm hopeful that this content helps you guys. The goal is to reach 1,000 subscribers. If we could do that, we can monetize, and that will give me a little bit more resources to do better videos. Thanks a lot, guys. We'll catch you guys next time.